Good evening. An appalling mess, a litany of failures and subject to years of mismanagement. Those were just a few of the Transport Secretary's choice words for the HS2 project this afternoon, as she confirmed the UK's new high-speed railway would be delayed again. The London to Birmingham service was due to open next year, then in 2029, then 2033. Today, Heidi Alexander says there is no route that would see trains running in the next 10 years, leaving people living in Old Oak Common asking if they ever will. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
HS2 is a railway which has shrunk in length and ballooned in cost. Less than 3 weeks ago, bosses were showing off the first platforms taking shape at Old Oak Common in West London. But today it was all change again as the Transport Secretary announced a new delay.
I see no route by which trains can be running by 2033 as planned.
For people in Wellshouse Road, it's another blow to their quality of life. Jeremy's house overlooks the huge Old Oak Common construction site. He's become used to dust, noise and uncertainty.
We still don't know whether when and if the road's going to be shut down for 1 year, 4 years, and obviously now they've knocked it on into the future. Yeah, that's kind of unsettling, to say the least.
The London to Birmingham line was given the green light in 2012. It was supposed to cost £33 billion and open in 2026. Since then, the budget has doubled to £66 billion and there's now no opening date. In Parliament, Heidi Alexander blamed the last government.
It has been no less than a litany of failure. And today I'm drawing a line in the sand, calling time on years of mismanagement, flawed reporting and ineffective oversight.
On the substance of the Secretary of State's statement, I believe there is broad consensus in this House today on the central point, which is that mistakes were made in the delivery of HS2.
Another MP wanted the Transport Secretary to see the impact of HS2 on her constituents.
I wondered if she might meet with me, or better still, come on a site visit to meet them and see what they're putting up with. Because we're dealing with a company here whose idea of engagement is jam tomorrow and death by PowerPoint.
The co-author of an earlier government review into the project called for it to be scrapped.
I think the UK needs to get a grip and stop all work, put HS2 into administration and start again from scratch with whatever scope of project they can devise within whatever budget, and then do it in small bite-sized pieces.
It's likely to be the end of the year before HS2 bosses draw up a new timetable for when the line will be finished and ultimately what it'll cost.
Simon, if not 2033, then when?
Well, nobody's prepared to put a date on it. There have been suggestions of a 2-year delay, so 2035, or possibly 2040. It's all now in the hands of two former Transport for London bosses, Mike Brown, the ex-commissioner, who was named today as the chair of HS2, and Mark Wilde, the chief executive, who earlier had some success in bringing in Crossrail towards the end of the project. They've now got to come up with a revised timetable of work and a revised estimate of what the final bill will be. Lots of questions in the Commons today. One slightly left field from Andy Slaughter, the Hammersmith MP, asking if the Transport Secretary would repay the patience of people in West London by stumping up the cash to repair Hammersmith Bridge. She didn't reject it out of hand, hinting that there might be an announcement on that coming soon.
OK. Thank you very much, Simon.
Well, the Mayor has spoken publicly today of his anger at the government's spending review. It is one of the topics on the late debate. From the studio in Westminster, here's our political correspondent Simon Harris with all the details.
On tonight's programme, we'll ask if London was shortchanged in the government's spending review. No money for the Bakerloo line and DLR extensions, and not enough money to plug the funding gap at the Met. Sadiq Khan said today he was angry and frustrated and thinks the Chancellor has made a mistake.
I think the Chancellor got it wrong in not supporting new investment in infrastructure in London. And my disappointment is because these pieces of investment in these infrastructure wouldn't just lead to more jobs being created, they would lead to more homes being built that we desperately need.
We'll also discuss the challenges facing Londoners who want to switch to electric cars in the drive towards net zero, and ask whether fare dodging is a fact of life on public transport. That's the late debate here on ITV1 after news at 10.
But first, while we're all encouraged to go green and drive electric, some might argue it is easier said than done. Worries about charging points and the prospect of having to pay the congestion charge might be enough to put some drivers off. And it's got businesses worried too. As our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
In a West London showroom, the newest models from China are strategically placed to catch the eye of drivers on the A4. Omoda and Jaiku cars can be petrol, electric or hybrid. Despite the drive towards zero-emission vehicles, purely electric cars powered by a battery account for fewer than 1 in 5 sales. Increasingly, it's plug-in hybrids, like this £45,000 Omoda 09, which are proving popular with Londoners.
A lot of people are living in apartments, are living in terraced houses without off-street parking. It's not safe or legal to run a charging cable across the pavement or hang one down out of the window. So having the plug-in hybrid means that you're not entirely dependent on the battery.
In some London boroughs, drivers of battery-powered cars enjoy cheaper parking. And in central London, there's another benefit over hybrids and the internal combustion engine, but that looks set to change. Last month, Transport for London announced it was planning to end the 100% discount, which allows electric vehicle drivers to avoid paying the congestion charge. From January next year, electric vans will be charged £9, electric cars £13.50. Anoma runs a flower shop on the edge of Covent Garden. She's bought an electric van and an electric car for her deliveries. The congestion charge will add almost £7,000 a year to her running costs, and she's not happy with the mayor.
It's wrong. It's really wrong of him. He's unpopular enough as it is, and this is going to make him extremely unpopular. For a small business, it's not creating an enabling environment, and that's the role of government.
Transport for London says it needs to alter the congestion charge, otherwise another 2,200 cars a day will be on the streets. But the loss of the incentive is just one consideration for drivers looking to make the switch to an electric vehicle. Another is so-called range anxiety. Will their car run out of juice before they can find a charging point? Westminster has more than any other borough.
I actually predict now that every resident with an electric vehicle in Westminster is within a 5-minute walk of a charge point.
Realistically, how many charge points does a borough like Westminster need?
Well, we've almost got 3,000 now, and we're going to keep going as we see uptick increase. So we've got another 130 going in over the next couple of months.
Helpfully for Anoma, there's a charging point in a lamppost outside her shop. Unhelpfully for her, it's in a residence parking bay, so she risks a fine every time the van's topped up. Simon Harris, ITV News, Covent Garden.